Good. So I'll start by by telling you again good evening. And I want to begin by saying that in relation to the topic of today, if you saw it on the flyer, the topic of today actually talks of understanding the concept of money. Understanding the concept of money. Why do we need to understand the concept of money? There are a lot of individuals who are actually on daily basis in search of money when they don't actually know what they are looking for. They don't know what they are searching for. And as a result of that, they never find what they are looking for. That's why somebody said, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So in the next 30 minutes, I'll be talking to us on the subject of money. I'll introduce to us the subject of money. And then after 30 minutes, we'll have a period of time to interact one to another to be able to get to see what you think about money and what you got to understand from what I will be saying. So as I said, the one thing I want to begin by saying is that in relation to the African society, the ancient African society, poverty was not a concept that was actually understood by the Africans. Africans never knew what poverty was all about. I want you to take that very seriously. So in ancient Africa, our ancestors never knew the word poverty. Poverty and scarcity are foreign concepts to the African person. When you go back to look at the African civilizations and the way the African society was structured, there was never a poor person because they never had the concept of scarcity. They never believed in lack. They lived a life of abundance and plenty because they believe that what they need is always available. They never saw a reason why they should live in lack. So that is the first thing I want you to know. Poverty is a foreign concept to the African people. It is a foreign concept. So it is a miseducation to the African people. That particular scarcity concept is not something that the African society holds and believes in. So it is a strange and foreign concept, which is supposed to literally be pushed out of our society. Secondly, there is no poor man, or let me use the word, there was never a poor man in the ancient African society. I could quote you an example using the discussion of Lord Macaulay in 1835, in 1835, to the parliament, when he, in describing the continent of Africa, he said in moving around Africa, he never saw beggars. He never saw scarcity. He never saw poverty. So he realized that there were no poor persons in Africa because the African concept of wealth is completely different from the European concept of wealth. The African concept of prosperity is completely different from the European concept of prosperity. And so that is something that we will be looking at in this particular excerpt and session of discussion. In the next 1 hour, we'll be through with this and we would have learned a lot. Okay, so I want to begin by placing some thoughts that will lead us into a definition of what wealth is. You know, with what some of us we understand as wealth today, it has placed us in a situation where we get to think that money is the currencies or paper bills or coins that we have in our hands. But I'll begin by telling you money is not currency. Money is not paper bills. Money is not coins. Money essentially is energy. I want to repeat that again to you. Money essentially is energy. And for your information, money, or say energy, can neither be created nor destroyed. If some of you have done physics, and the principles and laws of money are directly relative to the principles of quantum physics. We'll get to understand that in the future as we are talking. So money essentially is energy. Money is not pieces of paper. Money is not coins. So we'll get to talk about that. And that is why I started by saying, when you have this understanding of this concept, you will never live in poverty. Poverty is a strange concept to the African people. And because of this Caucasian manipulation, Africans today are living a life of poverty, which is something that is not real. So poverty is an illusion. Poverty is not real. Poverty is a mental conception of a lack. So they create a vacuum in your mind that persists in presenting to you emptiness where there is abundance. So I want to say, in relation to come to actually give you a definition of wealth before I go further in talking about what wealth is not. You see, we are living in a society where we go to school, we spend most of our time studying, but I want to ask any of you listening to me right now, is there any course offered to you in your institution on money? The answer is no. There is no course in any institution, not only in Africa, even in Europe, that offers the cost of money. There's none. What happens is when you look, you discover that in our schools, we learn how to manage money. We learn how to bank money, but we do not learn how to create money. I made a statement. I said money is energy, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And I know I just made a statement here about money creation, wealth creation. It is a little ironical, but I'm going to make you understand what I actually mean. When we talk of wealth creation or money creation, it has to do with actually channeling this energy which exists in an invisible state into material states. That's what creating it actually means, just to channel it. So each and every one of us is actually supposed to be a channel of this energy that permits our lives to become a blessing to our society. So, as I said earlier, there is no school in the world that has courses on wealth creation. A lot of people think they understand what money is or wealth creation is, but they do not. And that is why you see a lot of us go to school, we learn whatsoever we learn, and then we come back searching for jobs. You know the irony that exists in it? The irony that exists in it is this. A lot of Africans, Europeans, in fact, the world at large, send children to school, with the intention of actually giving them the opportunity to learn and come back, search for jobs. So to them, schooling is a guarantee for job creation, job searching, I beg your pardon. So when people go to school, they come back after having learned enough, graduated with high grades, they start looking for jobs. But somebody who understands money will never search for money. You don't work for money. Anyone who works for money ends up poor. I'll repeat it again. You don't work for money. If you work for money, you will remain poor. The rich do not get rich by working for money. The rich get rich by letting money work for them. Why? Because money is a resource. When it is channeled towards its towards its right direction, it brings abundance. It attracts more. But once you do not know this, you go searching for money, you end up in poverty. So a lot of people are in poverty because they have a wrong understanding of what money is all about. So I would like you to follow me on this part as we discuss this. I feel like a lot of people are actually suffering, and we need to talk about this so that we get to financial independence. If you are not financially literate, you can never become wealthy. You can never. So we need to become financially literate in order to live in prosperity. So money is a subject that is not taught in schools. All that is taught about money to a few choice students is how to count, manage, and bank money, but not how to create and grow it. So these students, after their days working for money, so please, I'm getting some noise from somebody. Please, can you just get to Ngwa? Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So I was saying that a lot of students will say money is being taught to a choice student, some few students, and how to count, manage, and bank this money, but not how to create and grow it, not how to channel it to become, to bring increase. So these students, after they graduate from school with all the A grades, spend their days working for those who created money. So you realize that a lot of those who are wealthy in our societies never actually went to school. We have Bill Gates today as one of the richest persons on earth. But if you look into his academic portfolio, you realize he dropped out of the university in the second year. A Harvard student, he dropped out in the second year. And a lot of those whom I know in Cameroon as rich people never actually went to school. And they are the ones commanding the wealth of the nation. They are the ones that are employing all those who actually went to school. So you go to school, you have all the A grades, but you come back work for those who never even went to school. And if you see, when you spend all your days working for money, you end up not having money. So look at it. The funny thing is this: those who create money are those whom the school system qualifies as misfits. And sometimes the C students in schools, they somehow gain the access to the right financial education, which differentiates them. You got what I said? They get access to the right financial education which differentiates them. So the education on wealth creation is not gotten in schools, therefore is left to most of our parents at home. But what happens if you are coming from a home where your parents were poor and never knew how to create money? They will only be able to teach you poverty or lack. And that is what they pass to their children as inheritance. And the circle of poverty increases from generation to generation. And that is one greatest problem in our African society, where a lot of persons are in the line of poverty because they came from a poor home. And they keep on getting into the same circle over and over. You grow up, you struggle to look for money, you search for money, you work for money, you end up passing the same notions to your children, and that particular circle of poverty increases, and the poor keep getting poor while the rich keep getting rich. Why? Because the rich knows what they need to teach their children, but the poor do not know what to teach their children. At times, the poor people point fingers to the rich and blame them, thinking that the cause of their poverty is the rich. No, the cause of your poverty is your lack of financial education. You are financially an illiterate, and a financial illiterate will end up in poverty. So we need to educate us on finance. And until you have this kind of education and finance, you will still find yourself walking in the lines of poverty. So, men and brethren, this particular great evening, I want you to know that it is not by chance that we are talking what we are talking here. It is something that had been programmed in the realms of the divine before we actually got the opportunity to be here on earth. You got that? So I would like each and every one of us to get to know that our lives are a blessing, and we are actually supposed to be rich. Got me? We are supposed to be rich, each one of us. We are supposed to be practically very, very rich. So I want you to, as you're preparing yourself to become a rich person, a rich African who have what it takes to make the difference, we should not forget, you get rich for people, not for yourself. The purpose of wealth is for the society in which you find yourself in, not for yourself. And that is what most of us will lack as understanding, and that is why most of us remain in poverty. But if you are going to make the difference, then it will be very essential that each one of us get to understand why we are here. So prosperity is a divine plan for each one of us, but it is possible to still end up in poverty. But I believe that you are not going to be a poor person. So I want to go with this statement. Says, if you are effective in the management of your money, then you are ensuring advancement in your financial inflow. And also, I want to put this to you clear. True wealth is not measured by what is in your bank account. So money is not what you have in your bank account, but your ability to recognize that your life is a channel through which true wealth can flow to affect the world around you. I should repeat that again. True wealth is not measured by what is in your bank account, but by your ability to recognize that your life is a channel through which true wealth can flow to affect the world around you. I'm sure that has entered into our minds. So I have a book that I've written, Winning with Money, or How to Win with Money, which actually has to do with principles of wealth creation. Some of you will likely want to have that book in the future, so you get to contact to get the book. So in order for money to become a part of your life, you need to increase, and for the money to increase, beg your pardon, you need to move from the hazy wave state of ideas in your mind, from dreams, wishing, yearning, and vague maybes into a solid state. So money needs to, those ideas needs to flow from just being energy into a solid state. So the laws, as I said earlier, when I started this, I said the laws of money are similar to the laws of quantum physics. If you can convince yourself from your very deepest inner being that there exists no lack, no unfairness, no discrimination, then making money will not be hard in your life. This will suddenly open you to great wealth. But you know what? That is what a lot and a lot and a lot of us do not know. So when you successfully remove the hazy wave dysfunction in your mind, you open yourself to the endless point of abundance. Because most of us, we have dreams, big dreams. We have great desires of how we want to become very rich. Our riches most of the times end here in our head, because we do not know how to go about getting the wealth. So we need to remove that hazy dysfunction, a hazy wave dysfunction from our minds, and permit ourselves to allow that divine energy to be channeled through us, and you will discover we'll end up in that endless point of abundance. In simple words, once a person understands the principles of wealth, he cannot live in lack. So to be rich is a way of viewing life. Take note of that. To be rich is a way of viewing life. Your conscious mind does not know whether you are rich or not. Be careful. So riches is a way of viewing life. Your conscious mind does not know the difference between poverty and riches. It is in your subconsciousness that you are controlled. The programming is done in your subconscious mind. From the age of 0 to the age of 7, or say even 12, but 7 is the limit age, where a lot of children and persons are programmed. People get to be programmed to hold to ideas, and those ideas end up directing the course of their lives. One thing I will tell you is most of the difficulties you have today in making money were embedded in you when you were kids. And even though you do not know, your subconscious mind at times actually brings that to you, and you get to live the experiences of the programming that you had received. That is what is happening with most of us. So to make you realize you are rich, you need to constantly tell yourself and your conscious mind that you are rich. And you also need to actually believe what you say. So awareness is very important in that. So men and brethren, I want to point this to you as it is. I told you we'll define what money is all about. So you can't be in control of what you do not understand. A lot of people are in use of money, they use money, but they have little or no understanding of what it is. They end up making errors in the chase of it. So money at its roots is fundamentally energy. So I want to use this word, is fundamentally spiritual, and trying to end and keep it through material means will be practically impossible. So we can't go further in this discussion without actually defining and finding out what money is all about. So I would first of all like us to see what economists say about money. You know, most of what we have today, the miseducation that we have today concerning money is what economists said about money. And you know what? Most of the economists which we can talk about, they teach economy, but they are poor. Most of your professors have knowledge, but they don't have knowledge. They don't have the know-how. They are poor because they have accumulated information in their heads, but they lack the experiential know-how to actually help you become rich. So money, from my understanding, is not just pieces of papers and pieces of metals. It's more than that. The concept of money, as I said earlier, is primarily spiritual, or say it's an energy. Is what? An energy. So when you go look at the word, the English word for money is, or the word English word for money, or say coin, the word coin in English, as is used in the Chinese language, is the word qian, qian, which is similar words in other languages. The word qian also serves as a root to the Hebrew word for store or shop, as well as a market-based economy. So a store or market is a place for people to interact and make voluntary exchange, leaving both parties happier and better off than they were before. So you can't say you are in possession of money and you are at the same time are living in worries and in poverty and others. You get to be happy. So to come to look at money as it is supposed to be looked at, I want to say these few words, which will have effects on our progress. Money as a currency is an invention that came up later in the 20th century. But money came and has been along with civilization. You should not forget that. So money as a currency, because there is a difference between currency money, and other monies. So the idea of currency money was actually invented in the 20th century. So we are discussing on this topic because it's very, very important. Very, very important. If I open up to ask so that you ask questions for us to talk on, I would like to put this to you. When we are defining money, it is important to note this. That happened to me. I realized it, and that's what I want to bring to you. If you go chasing for money, for those who are working for money, you are working for illusions in the name of money, because those pieces of papers, those coins are not actually money. That's currency money, which are just a means of exchange. So money, as I said above, is fundamentally spiritual, is energy, it is not just material. But we will talk about this as we progress. So in economics, money is defined as one, a good that acts as a medium of exchange in transactions. I'll say it again. Money is a good that acts as a medium of exchange in transactions. That, if you go to the economic glossary, you will see that there. You have a second definition, say anything that is accepted by a group of people for the exchange of goods, services, or resources. So money is anything that is accepted by a group of people for the exchange of goods, services, or resources. Today, we are gradually getting into virtual money, where if you we have bitcoins and all those bitcoins and whatsoever coins, that's virtual money. We are going to talk more. So basically, money refers to currency in most societies. This currency is in the form of a metal coin and paper bills, which the government institutes. In fact, other goods are often better than currency at being intertemporal stores of value, considering that currencies degrade in value over time. Be very careful with that. Currencies degrade in value over time. And that is something that a lot of people do not know. And that's why you might have money today. I want to remember, go back to days of my fathers and their grandfathers. What they used to use as money was, wow, the 1 million francs I will have today was to them in their day might be about 50,000 francs. But by virtue of inflation, the currencies that we get to use lost value as time progresses. And as they are losing their value, the money, the currency is losing its value. So it becomes degraded. So there are three things that are essential. Anything that is going to serve as money, there are three things that are essential. They must possess these three important properties. So if you are to use something as money, it must possess these three essential or important properties. They are: one, the item in use should serve as an accepted medium of exchange. Those are the things that economists put into place in order to identify what money is to their perspective. So it should be served as an accepted medium of exchange. Two, the item should serve as a unit of account. That is to say, it should be able to determine the prices of goods and balance its values. This is a way to help you get out of, this was a way that they came out of trade and barter, trade by barter, because they needed to look for a way to measure and balance value, while each partner is able to accept and exchange their resources or their goods with. The third point, or important necessary property in wanting to make any commodity money, should be it should serve as a store of value, meaning it should hold the purchasing power over time. So you got that? It should serve as the store of value, meaning it should hold the purchasing power over time. So in this, money is supposed to be a store. But we just said here that if it's supposed to be a store of value, it is supposed to be able to also keep it. When we talk of store, it means it's a magazine where we keep something and preserve it for the future. But most of what we call as currency money today loses value every day. every day. Maybe this will be challenging to some of you, but what you call money loses value every day. And you know what? These economists and precisely Caucasians have brought these ideas and rendered the African people poor by being able to present to them something that does not truly store values. It has temporal storage of value, and exchange it for their resources, which are true values. For example, true wealth is land, true wealth is resources, true wealth is not currency. And when you focus on the currency in exchange of the land, you lose wealth and you get something that loses value, which is not truly money. And that is where our African people have lost in the game of money. So this should be made clear to you. There is a very big difference between money and wealth. I mention this because a lot of persons they confound the differences and tend to use the term money as a synonym for wealth, but they are in no way synonymous. For money is just a currency which represents just one form or source of an individual's wealth or assets. So wealth, in other words, is an accumulation of an individual's assets, with currency just being a portion of it. Where asset stands for anything that brings money into your account, even when you are on a vacation, or doing nothing, according to what I learned from Robert Kiyosaki in one of his books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So money or currency, therefore, has plenty of substitutes. We have different kinds of substitutes of money used over time. Today we have in the early days, the ancient times, there used to be bartering and commodity money. Bartering, so trade by barter, and commodity money, where you use items to exchange for items. And in progress, you also have commodity money. It was a basic commodity used by almost everyone. For example, salt. I remember in ancient, around the 14th centuries in Africa, salt was one of the mediums for exchange. Cattle were used for exchange. Tea, tobacco, and other grains were used for exchange. These items were once used as money in Africa and other places. Let's say carrying bags of salt and other commodities for long distances because you want to buy is a very strenuous activity. So as a result of that, commodity money, which was sold, which is also perishable, also difficult to store, so constituted a problem. And for the people who thought they were civilizing to solve the problem, actually invented coins and replaced the commodities with coins. So you have coin and paper money also, which we are using today. And the first ever coined minted featured the head of a roaring lion as early as over 5,000, that's 5,000 BC. Iron coins were introduced in use in Africa. Let me make that plain to you. The first coins were invented in Africa. When you go studying it and struggling to look in your Google, you will not see these because they have replaced it. They will tell you of King Aliates of Lydia on the present Turkey. They will say he was the first Western world to make coins. But coins were actually invented in Africa, in the civilization in Africa. So let me use the Kemet civilization in Africa. And that is where a lot of persons today have failed to understand that we are not backward persons. We are actually very rich society, a very, very rich society. So I don't know if you are getting me well, but coins never started abroad. They never started in Europe. They started with us in Africa, with our fathers, our ancestors. That's not what I came to discuss about. But I was giving you the various representatives. You also have what they call the representative money. With the introduction of coins and paper currency, commodity money evolved into representative money. This means that what money was made up of itself no longer had to be very valuable. So representative money was backed by a government or banks who promised to exchange it for a certain amount of silver or gold. And for most of the 19th and 20th centuries, the majority of currencies were based on representative money through the use of gold standards. Then you also have what they call the fiat money. Representative money has now been replaced by fiat money. Fiat is a Latin meaning for let it be done. So money is now given value by a government fiat or a decree. In other words, enforceable legal tender laws were made. By law, the refusal of legal tender money in favor of some other form of payment is illegal. So you see, if money has evolved in time, changes from one thing to the next, you need to get to understand something. You might be deceived by holding a piece of paper in your hands today. What you hold and you call money, tomorrow might be changed to something else, and you end up living in brokenness because you were holding and believing in the wrong thing. So my interest here is to bring you to a place where you understand that wealth, money, is not that piece of paper. It's more than that. So the other kind of money is electronic banking. So you have ERMAs, which began as a project for the Bank of America as far back in the United States. That's electronic banking. And I want to make this, they are meant for transactions and for accountings. So with that, currency money is a form of power, but what is more powerful is real money, which is intangible value. Take note of that. Real money is intangible value. Real money, as I said earlier, is spiritual, it's energy, and it is intangible value, which gives control over the tangible money. So the piece of paper you possess in your hands can only have authority and strength when it is backed by that spiritual aspect of it or that energy. I want to ask you a question. If you think that money is just so normal, I want to show you something. Do you know it is practically difficult for me? I want to remove a frown. This is a coin, this paper that I'm holding in my hands. And do you know why it's difficult for me to tear this thing? Do you know why it is practically very difficult for me to tear it? I can't tear this money because, see, it is small, it is a piece of paper that could be twisted, but I can't tear it. There is a force behind this. There is a force that is backing this piece of paper in my hands. And as a result of that, you are seeing the piece of paper. But what you need to know about money is beyond this piece of paper. When you understand the power that backs this, you can actually be in control of it. And being in control of it means that you do not need to work for it. Anybody who goes around looking for a way, for struggling to work for money, ends up broke and poor. Why? You don't work for money. Money is energy that is supposed to be channeled to bring you wealth, which implies that money works for you. Those who want to be rich actually channels money, or the strength of money, to work for them, to enrich them. That to you might be strange, but yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. We need to not work for money, like not work for money. I mean it. I'm telling you that. We don't need to work for money. We don't work for money. Is that okay? So not working for money is very important. We should not work for money. Money is not supposed to be worked for. Okay, so I've told you that money is not what some of you are thinking. Money is not what you are thinking. It is not that piece of paper in your hands. It's more than you think. So as of this particular moment, I want you to get to know that the reason why things are the way they are is simply because you didn't realize what money was all about. And I'm sure that now that you know, you can make good use of it. I'm sure. I'm sure of that. You can make practical good use of it. So if I will want to say some stuff before I open up for questions, we don't work for money. We don't work for money. Money is very, very important, but we don't work for money. Is that okay? Money is very important, but we don't work for money. Those who work for money end up in poverty. Yes, those who work for money end up in poverty. And I'm sure none of you want to work for money. So before I open up for questions, I want to give us some few laws of money. When you understand the laws of money, you'll be able to put money into work. So before I get to talk about the laws of money, I want to receive some questions for those who have questions to ask concerning money. So if you have any question, please, I would like to hear your questions about money. Any questions? Questions, questions, questions. I'd like to get your questions, please. Any questions? Any questions? Questions?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you.
I want to add something and also ask a question.
Okay.
When I was a kid, starting from primary school down to secondary school, I only get to know the definition of money. And I only get to know that money is the medium of buying of goods and services and exchange of it.
Okay.
they never told me this money, you can take it, go to this bank or this company, tell them you are buying a share from the company.
Yeah.
And that share, you won't see it. But at the end of the month or the year, the company will refund your money, also give you interest on it.
Yeah,
School
that's
never told me.
investment.
Yeah, now after secondary school learning, I grew up, leave school, enter the field of study of hustling as a man. Now I came to realize along the road process, things became tough. The more you work, the more you hustle. Now every day, parents will advise us go to church. Pastor will be praying for miracle money, miracle money. So I want to ask, aside to me, I discovered this by myself that demand for prosperity is labor. If you don't work, don't expect anything. Aside labor, is
Yeah.
there any other process you can use to earn your money or get prosperity aside labor?
Okay. One thing I want to say is, first, I want to put this again. We don't work for money. So
Okay.
labor is good. Labor is good, but it is not your labor that makes you rich.
Okay.
What makes a person rich is the ability to compound, which means you must learn the principles of investment.
Okay.
Yes. So when you work, you put your time and energy into money, into searching for money. It actually helps you to become, should I use the word? Uh, you actually engage yourself into doing something. But what will give you wealth is when you invest. We're going to talk about investment in another slot more and deep, because we need to know what to do to become rich. So I'll refer you to our subsequent sessions, because we are going to be talking deep, because without that, we might end up poor. Africans need to emerge. We need to come out economically strong. But to do that, we need all what it takes. So yeah, that is one of the purposes. So I'm sure I've made you to understand it is not, they don't pray for money. If anybody told you that they will pray and you have miracle money, that's deception. That's manipulation. You don't pray for money.
That is the everyday life of we Africa, mostly the Christians.
Yes, Africa is the only place where it is easy to buy a warehouse, transform it into a church, and start praying for jobs. Instead of making it into an enterprise, they turn it into a church and start praying for jobs. That's the error we have.
Right.
So we need to change that mindset, because it is not the prayer that gives us money. Prayer is good, but prayer does not bring money. I just made a statement here that money is essentially energy, or say spiritual. And once you understand it and you are able to rightly position yourself for the flow of this energy through you to affect your society, it makes you wealthy. That does not mean that you have to sit and you are waiting that money will fall from heaven into your hands. No, you need to learn to work. There is difference between work and job. Be very careful about that. We're going to talk about that also with time. There's a big difference between working and job. When a person is at work, he puts 95% of mental energy into flow, and he uses just about 5% of energy, physical work energy, to work. But those who are doing jobs, they use over 95% of their physical strength and energy in search of money. And that keeps them in a place of poverty. And that we are going to counteract in this particular program. So we need to learn more about that. So with time, you're going to get more about that. So I'm sure your question has been answered. Any other question? Anybody with a question? Is there any question?
I don't think much for now.
Okay. If there is no question, then certainly we should move ahead.
Okay.
So I said I wanted to talk to us about, I wanted to conclude on some issues,
Okay.
talking about the laws of money.
Okay.
The first law of money, which I want you to keep, there are over 20 of them, and I'll give you a few today, and I'll continue our next Wednesday and talking about it. The first law of money is that money is a game. You didn't get what I said. I said money is a game. Any game you spend more time playing, you gradually gain mastery over it. But what is good about a game is that it can be learned. So you can learn how to make money. What most of us we do not know is that in the game of money, you can win as well as you can lose. But for those who have mastered the game, they win always. So when we play the game of money, we play to win. So the money game is not won because you are genetically smart, or because you were born in a rich family, or because you are a hard worker, but because you understand the rules and you are a consistent player of money. So, as you heard me say,
yes, sir.
You only get to enjoy this when you understand this rule. So rule number 2, money is a kind of power, and it is very important. I'll say again, money is a kind of power, and it is very important. A lot of poor people like saying money is not important, and that is very wrong for somebody to say money is not important. When you say money is not important, you are gradually killing yourself. When you say money is not important, you know what you are doing? It baffles me, the fact that after you say such a statement, you go again looking for a job. Say money is not important. Money is very important. So what comes out of your mouth should matter a lot. A lot of people destroy this energy with what they say. And you know, you can't say money is not important and you go looking for a job. You are a hypocrite. And one thing you understand today is that money hates hypocrites. So such persons, they are not being truthful to themselves. As a result, rather, they scare money away from them. And this lie develops a feeling of hate for money. So when you keep telling that lie to yourself, that money is not important, it develops a kind of hate of money in you. So you can't hate money and attract it at the same time. So if you hate it, you won't get it. But money doesn't like haters. I'm sure you got me. Money does not like haters. So if you hate money, you rest assured you will remain a poor person. If you tell me that, oh, money is not important, you are simply telling me you have signed your pact to poverty. So that is why money will always leave from the hands of the poor to that of the rich, since the poor don't like money. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Money leaves the hands of the poor into the hands of the rich based on the understanding of the principles of money and the rules of money. So some people just want to blame rich people because they think that the rich people are collecting their money. No, they have what it takes to pull the money towards them. But for the poor don't have it. So the third rule, which I will be giving here, money is a doubles game. Take note of that. Money is what? A doubles game. So what I mean here is that the entire money game is all about doubling your money. It's all about doubling your money. So the question is, how soon can you double your money depending on where you are on the scale of 100,000 to 1 million francs CFA, in France CFA, or in any currency where you use where you are. So if you are at a scale of, let's say, $100, how soon can you double your money to about, say, $1 million? That's a question. So any amount in your hands can be your doubles. So to be able to double money, you need to know how much risk you can bear. So to properly operate with this rule, you need to know these two things about you. Your risk tolerance level, because it will determine how fast you double your money. And two, your time horizon. It will give you the ability to map out a time limit to arrive at your target goal. So you need to be able to know how, if you can tolerate risk. Those who are afraid of risk end up poor. The one thing I'll tell you today about risk is this. Risk is you. Risk is never a business you want to invest in. There's never any risk in any business you are to invest in. The risk is always you. When you go to the mirror and you stand before the mirror, what do you see? You see yourself in the mirror. So the reflection of you in the mirror is what you see. That is the same thing. When you want to invest in a business, it is you that you see in the business. So when you see much risk, that is to tell you that your risk tolerance level is very high. And that is what will determine whether you will be able to double your money or not. So because some of us are intolerant with risk, in fact, our risk level is very high, we end up practically living a life of fear. And as such, we end up broke. So your time horizon also matters a lot. It will give you the ability to determine how fast, to determine, also to map out a time limit to arrive your target goal. So if you want to arrive at target goal, you have to put time limit on it. And that is based on your time horizon. So I'll give you the fourth, I'll end at number 5, the fifth rule. This is the fourth rule. Okay. Fourth rule say money must be seduced. Money is just like a damsel, a beautiful young lady, whom if you need to have, you need to seduce. I'm sure you are surprised about that. So money is just like a little damsel, beautiful damsel that needs to be seduced fall into your arms. Money likes to be seduced. It is attracted to seducers. So there are those who have money out there are money seducers. They seduce money into their hands. Money doesn't like a desperate person. People who are desperate will scare money away from them. Desperate people scare away money from them. I've repeated that. So people who are desperate for money never attract money. They end up chasing after money. I don't know if you heard that. But I said, people who are desperate for money never attract money. They end up chasing after money and become slaves of money. So money seducers invent money traps that lure money towards them. So I would rather prefer each one of us listening to me at this time should become money seducers. We should attract money. We should create money traps that will lure money into our arms. And that's my cry for each African. You should become money seducers. And as a money seducer, you should invent money traps that lure money towards you. So these traps are businesses, real estates, which they create, and services they offer that costs money to be attracted to them. So just look for example in Africa, in Nigeria. Here we have Dangote, which is a popular name. He has been able to create various money traps that permit him to attract money. So he's seducing money into his hands, and he keeps getting richer and richer, richer and richer. And most of us Africans will get to blame some of them for becoming rich, which is wrong. So just as Dangote has created cement factories around Africa and other commodity businesses around Africa, which keep attracting money into his safekeep, you and I need to do the same. And you know, today Dangote stands as one of the 20 richest persons in the world. An African is one of the top 20 richest persons in the world because he understood that prosperity is not something that happens in a single day. Be careful about that. I'll repeat that. Prosperity does not happen in a single day. So this goes to those who are gamblers. Be rest assured, money does not stay in the hands of gamblers. Money escapes from gamblers. Money flees away from gamblers. If you're a gambler, know that money can never remain in your hands. It will never. It will flee away from you. So those who do gambling and are poor, because though you might deceive somebody and receive money today, the money cannot stay in your hands because you don't know how to keep it. So you will leave. Then I should go straight to the fifth point, the fifth rule, which says money increases in time. Money increases in time. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteous, but everyone that is hasty only ends in want. That's a quotation from Proverbs of Solomon. Timing here has to do with when you invest, employ, buy, and sell. It has to do with when you make measured decisions. Timing in the game of money cannot be taught. It is discerned. Anyone who intends to be rich in a haste only ends up in poverty. I repeat this again. So money is only truly accrued in time and gradually. So that's why I spoke before of the law of compounding. So you compound money, it grows with time. There is no instant no quick fix, no quick schemes. There's nothing you can do to have money immediately. Money only grows with time. And for those who grow money gradually with time, they master how to manage it and how to increase it. And that's where we have a serious problem with Africans. Africans want to get rich fast and quick. But there's no quick way to get rich. No quick way to have money. So considering that money is spiritual, you cannot make money and be in peace without the backing of these laws. It is by the hand of grace that you see people actually strong and rich there. At times, some people will not understand what I'm saying. When you think that money is a piece of paper, you end up living a life of poverty. That's why for you to control this thing, you need a force that backs it up. You need to have mastery of the force that backs this thing up. And that is not a physical thing. They are backed by rules. We are going to be talking about that as we progress in these teachings. So for today, I will surely be ending here. When I'm coming next Wednesday, we'll start talking about the 6 rules and other things that we'll be discussing. Number 6 rule, and we'll go further to deeper in it and talk more. So I'd like to hear your questions if you have any. If you have any questions, I'd like to hear them. I'd like to hear your questions if you have any. Any questions?
No, for now.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Anybody with a question, please? You've been listening to me.
I think they don't have.
I'm sure you people have been hearing me.
Yeah.
Okay. Isaac, don't you have a question? Galaxy Note 10, no question. Kennedy, no question. Mav, Bonnie, no question. Questions? Like to get your questions, please. Okay, Isaac said he joined late. But don't you have anything that you picked up that you want to know further? I'm listening to you, guys. I'm waiting to hear. Okay, so if there's nobody with a question and you don't have any, then we'll say this session will end here today. Normally, it was supposed to be in an hour's program, but we've added 15 minutes into it. And so we'll be looking up next Wednesday to talk deeper into it, because we need to be able to walk our paths up. So I call on to you. See you next Wednesday, and we're going to do much to invite as many as possible to join us in these beautiful talks. So see you next Wednesday. But don't forget, Afremo is a project which we intend to affect the lives of many around the world, and precisely in Africa. And would like to get the perspectives of individuals We need to raise people on how to become financially powerful and strong, because when we are rich, we can make a difference. But poverty, we will never be able to be different. So that is what is important. Okay, Isaac, I'm certain you have good experiences which we're going to permit you discuss with them. I'm sure in my next session, I'll permit some of you to give out your experiences on how you have made yourself where you are. If you build a brand of yourself for yourself, like I've done, you will need to give the people your experiences. Good.
Yeah, I will be happy to. I will be happy the moment you give me a chance. I will express my views to the listeners.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That notwithstanding, today we'll say, see you next time. Have a good evening and sleep well. Good night.